Malika, you had a follow-up.
I have a follow-up on reparations. Yes, there's many people who are not happy with the way that it's being rolled out. We are very proud that Alderman Robin Ruth Simmons became the pioneer throughout the entire country to even bring reparations to a real conversation. But then others started having input. So you all speak of equity in terms of reparations, but what it's rolling out to look like is not looking like equity to many residents. It's looking like the banks are going to walk away the winner on the backs of the Black community again. So it takes us back to systemic racism. So in speaking to many of the city council, they are gung-ho for the housing program. The housing program, the money doesn't go directly to the residents, it goes to the bank. How are you all going to impact this? Because it's probably still going to be on the table when we get the new council in. Many people do not want it to roll out in the way that it is being rolled out right now, because Evanston won't come out strong in it if they go with the housing program the way that it is, because pretty much 10 families are going to benefit, maybe, if they get qualified. Why should we get qualified for reparations? One, answer that. Why should we get qualified for reparations? And two, what are you going to do to make them go back to the drawing board, to make sure that we come out strong, because we are the pioneers in reparations right now?
Who gets that question?
Daniel Biss.
So I would, with respect, question part of the premise of that question. I don't think there's anybody in Illinois who has been more harshly critical of the financial sector and the banking industry than me. And I would love to rethink all of homeownership in America so that we don't do mortgages that are enriching private banks that behave badly. But that is the system of homeownership in this country. And I don't think that starting our reparations program in the context of homeownership is a bad idea. And here's why. We need to explain this program to the community and sell this program to the community. And a lot of the pushback comes in the form of, well, hold on, wait, why do I owe reparations if I didn't live here, or if I did not do the harm that needs to be repaired? And we have to educate people about that. And the answer to that question is really compelling, which is the city of Evanston has done harm through its actions on behalf of all of us, whether we lived here or not at the time. The city of Evanston that perpetuated segregation.
60 seconds.
The city of Evanston that perpetuated segregation did harm and destroyed Black wealth through its impact on housing. And therefore it owes reparation to repair that harm in the arena of wealth and housing. And so I think it's sensible to start there. I don't think that's the end of the story. I don't think it should be the end of the story. I don't think that Alderman Simmons thinks it should be the end of the story either. But I think you've got to pick a spot to begin this path-breaking program, and starting by saying, let's talk about redlining, let's talk about zoning, let's talk about the city doing segregation, and then let's use that as an explanation for why to start with housing. I think it makes pretty good sense. Now, as for qualification, again, my vision of reparations over the long term does not require someone to apply and check 1 million boxes and get qualified. And I would very much guess that that's also the case with Alderman Simmons. There's a limited amount of revenue to start. There's a limited amount of political will to start. And I think they started in a sensible place. Now we got to grow it.
Sebastian?
So, since it's two parts, there have to be at least some qualifications. Obviously, if you moved from, say, California a year ago, you may not be able to qualify for reparations in Evanston, just because we can only really focus on Evanston residents who have been here for an extended period of time. So there have to be some qualifications in reparations, because we just don't have the resources to just shell out money. But kind of talking about what Daniel Biss just said, we should not be having to sell the idea of home ownership reparations to Black residents, especially in particular. It's the idea that we should be going into the community and having conversations with Black residents and seeing exactly what the help they need is. I recently talked to a business owner right on Church and Dodge, and she said that she qualified for reparations. She fit into that qualifying factors, but yet her house was paid off. She had no interest in renovating her house, and therefore she had no way of collecting any of that or those
60
reparations.
seconds.
And she said, why can't I take that money and go renovate my business or pay my bills so I can put that money aside and build my equity my own way? So it seems wrong to me that the city of Evanston, who is the one perpetrating redlining, segregation, not to mention police brutality, issues when it comes to beach tokens even, that the city of Evanston should be the one telling individuals who qualify for reparations how they should go about spending their money. That is a problem to me, and that's, before we even begin to roll out this program, we need to go back and have those conversations and see if this is a pathway forward that we want to go on.
Right?
So I actually I signed a petition. The Tina and Renee Payton, whose mother was an alderman, started a petition on change.org about reparations and true reparations, that it has to be no strings attached. The people who have been done the harm should decide where the money is spent, and they should decide what is truly reparations, not the person or the entity that has historically done the harm. Why would we trust them to say that this is how you spend your money? It would be like giving someone a stimulus check and saying, well, you can only spend it for a new car. Well, if people have lost their jobs and they're losing their homes and they can't buy, kids' school supplies, whatever it is, we can't say to them, here's how you should be spending that money. Reparations, true reparations, is giving money for them to spend in a way that they think that they should spend it. It should not be geared towards homeownership or whatever else the city of Evanston wants to do. So I think while it's great that we've talked about reparations and we're moving this forward, I think it's amazing. But we can't do it like Evanston has done so much in the past, which is sort of in a bungled stutter stop, where we're not doing the right things. Let's get out and listen to
60 seconds.
And let's listen to the Payton sisters who have done affordable housing for generations. And let's talk about what reparations truly looks like to the community of Evanston. And don't start to hand down things. We all understand that home ownership builds wealth. But if this community says that that's not how they want reparations, then we need to be listening to that. And we need to be adapting the plan in a way that lets them contribute to the conversation. And that's where we should be starting with reparations.
Okay.
Did anyone have a response?
I'm just a little worried. I don't think we have any disagreement about values here. I don't think we have any disagreement about what the definition of true reparations is here. And I don't think we have any disagreement about our goals here. But I think I just heard two candidates essentially say that they would go into office and derail this program. And I think that is a recipe for disaster. I think we need to roll it out carefully and meticulously in an inclusive way while listening to the community. But the notion that we would get this far and then completely pull back and start fresh, I think runs a very, very serious risk of winding up with no reparations program at all, as opposed to one that needs
30
to be
seconds.
built on. And I would be very, very, very cautious and careful about that. It would be heartbreaking if that was the outcome of this kind of discussion.
Sebastian and Laurie?
Yeah, can I respond really quickly? Because this has been the issue that has been plaguing the Black community for so long, that we have individuals who won't go the extra mile to actually provide services for Black families. So this is a prime example of such, is that the Black community is saying that this reparations program is not enough. Like so much the city has done for the Black community in the past, it's not enough to meet the needs of those families and those individuals. So it is up to us to go into the community, have those conversations, and tailor the program to them. Why are we giving them a program and saying, here, this is what you get, take it or leave it? To me, it's dumbfounding
30 seconds.
that's something that we would do as a community that strives to be so diverse, so liberal, so left-leaning, but yet we are putting Black families and Black individuals in a box and saying, look, this is what you get. In the end of the day, you either take it or you don't, and you move on with your lives.
Okay, Lori.
Yeah, so I'd really like to respond. I don't think that anything that Sebastian or I said about reparations is saying that we would derail it or take it away. I think what we were saying was we would strengthen it. And we'd strengthen it with community input. I would be very suspect and call me cynical, but the guy that's taking money from real estate developers talking about development and being able to invest reparations money in development sounds a little wrong to me. I think that what we need to do with reparations is give people the money that we said we were going to give them and set up a program and a plan that has had community input and move that forward. There's no derailing there.
30 seconds.
Well, I think.
Oh, go ahead, Keith.
No, I thought everybody responded.
Oh,
And I think-
Lori had 30 seconds left. Did anyone
Oh, I see. Sorry.
want to respond before we go on?
I kind of do want to respond, actually.
30 seconds.
I mean, first of all, the allegation that I have some kind of stake in reparations is outrageous and frankly flabbergasting. But I'll just leave that aside. The question is, of course, we have to do this while listening. Of course, we have to do this in an inclusive way. There's been an attempt to do that already, and of course, more has to be done. The question is, are we going to try to move forward and build on what we have, or are we going to try to first tear down what we have? Because my fear is that if we first tear down what we have and then hope that we can some other time build something better later, I've seen this happen way too many times. The later often just never shows up, and that would be a tragedy.
Okay. Thanks.
Can I respond for a minute, Malika?
Okay,
think-
30 seconds, and then we're going to
Okay.
open up to the residents.
I think saying that something that takes time is taking it away is wrong. I think that when we can admit to ourselves and the community that it's a bold idea and we're just doing this and we're the first people to do it, that maybe we got it wrong out of the gate, and being able to adapt that with more input, I don't think there's anything wrong about that. And I don't think we're trying to derail a program. I think what we're trying to do is build it stronger with more buy-in from the community so that we can have true success coming out of the gate, rather than
30 seconds.
rather than a distrust or a misunderstanding or the community not buying into it. I think that it's really important to get this right, and telling people how they can spend their reparations money is not getting it right. So I think until we really have community input and buy-in, that we can move forward from there. I don't think that we're taking anything away. I think what they did was not right and not true reparations. So let's start with something that is right and true
Time.
with the consensus of the people.
Okay, we're going to give Sebastian 30 seconds, and then we're going to open up to the residents.
No, I would just like to echo what Lori just said, and that she's entirely right on the premise that we have done a wrong, or the city of Evanston has done a wrong in the past, and we need to fix it. And we need to provide at least options for individuals to choose from, whether that's rental assistance, entrepreneurship grants, homeowners assistance, or a direct stipend that they can collect. That way we are helping senior citizens who live in senior living. We're helping renters. We're helping those homeowners that already have their homes paid off but have a Black-owned business here in Evanston. There are so many different factors. And to say that we can't put off reparations for a year or two as we iron out the issues, it doesn't make sense to me. That, we need to go into the community, take the time and effort to listen, and create a reparations program that is true reparations that everyone can be proud of.
Okay, great. We're going to open it up now.
Yeah, we're going to open up to the residents. Travis Washington.